Everyone, I'm Christina from Big Beautiful Sky. Welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic start to the month. Let's talk about September. So, September is a month that marks the beginning of something completely different. Why? It's Virgo season, but there are two eclipses. So, the energy right now, we're a few hours from the first eclipse, feels really intense. And not in a bad way, but in intensely healing way, or at least that's my interpretation of it. So when I look at September as a whole from beginning to end, I think of it as we're walking through a doorway, but it's going to feel it almost looks like we're walking through one door to another, but what we can't see is that as we're walking, things are going to feel very hard, tricky, difficult. How do we navigate this? There's going to be shifts and changes and surprises and things from the past bubbling up, people, places, things disappearing. So over the next couple weeks, just be aware that things are shifting and changing really rapidly, and that's okay. So the other thing I want you to remember is that with the Pisces and Virgo axis, when I think of that axis, I think of healing. And most people think healing is nice. Like if I go to a sound bath or I have a massage, I feel nice. I'm healing. Healing is actually incredibly ugly. It's messy. It's purging. It's a release that can unleash and always does if it's truly healing tears and anger. It leaves you feeling empty and almost like you've been destroyed because you have. Because if you are actually healing, there is an aspect of you, an older aspect, or an aspect of you no longer want that has been destroyed in the process of healing. Healing is a destruction of something old so that something new can be born. So, unless you've destroyed, you haven't healed. Sorry, your sound bath isn't healing you. It's regulating you, it's calming you down, it's putting you into rest and digest. It feels nice, but it's not healing you. The same problems are going to keep happening. It's not changing anything in your life, it's just making you feel good. So, when I think about Virgo season, when I think about September, that's what I think of. I think of healing, but the ugly purging kind, the destruction kind. So if you finish September and you feel nice, then I guess you haven't really healed. But once we get into October and the healing has had some time to integrate, the energy should pick up in a really positive way. So September, of course, started with Saturn retrograding back to Pisces. So we're still reviewing old structures. And in Pisces, it feels very subconscious. So there are beliefs that need to be rebuilt, reprogrammed, because Pisces is the sign of the subconscious, right? That need to be readdressed so that you can move into this next phase of development. Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is also going retrograde on the 5th. It goes retrograde until February 3rd, 2026, where it will station direct in Taurus at 27 degrees. So right now, Uranus and Gemini is at 1 degree trining Pluto. So that to me just says crazy technological advancement, crazy innovation. I mean, we're going to see AI pick up next year once Uranus is in Gemini permanently, exponentially. So expect the innovation and the AI and the technological advancement trends to continue. With Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, and Chiron all retrograde right now, there's a lot up for review. So until we can kind of blast forward into this new future, there are things that we need to process, that we need to reassess, that we need to review and reintegrate. So check where these planets fall in your chart to find out what this means for you exactly. Okay, so now for the big one. On September 7th, we have the lunar eclipse at 15 degrees of Pisces, which, in my opinion, is a deep and profound opportunity for healing and metamorphosis. So I went deep into this eclipse, and I'm going to take you on a little journey to discuss, how to really amplify the potential that this eclipse offers you. So it's a very intense time for healing. And like I said earlier, tears, anger, all the things could be coming up just organically. You could be being triggered, and that's okay. Let it happen. It's a high tide of energy. And because the eclipses are on the Pisces Virgo axis, it's like we're standing on this threshold, and underfoot is like a flimsy bridge, right? And it's going to take some dexterity to cross. But on the other side, once we cross, there are opportunities. So we're going to grow, we're going to evolve, we're going to develop, we're going to learn new skills. All right. It's going to be a really exciting month and a really exciting 2 weeks. But first, with this Pisces eclipse, we have to heal. We have to let go of aspects of our old selves, and we need to create space for new energy. So Pisces is co-ruled by Jupiter and Neptune. It's the final sign of the zodiac, and it represents disillusion, unity, compassion, transcendence. It's the archetype of the mystic, the dreamer, the healer, who reminds you that everything is interconnected. But Pisces also carries the shadow of confusion, martyrdom, escapism, addiction, self-sacrifice, abandonment, where the boundaries between self and others dissolve to your detriment. So the thing that you have to remember is boundaries are very important, because who are we without boundaries? Okay, we need boundaries. So even though Pisces is a wonderful, rose-colored glasses, it can feel like the best of times. It still requires us to have strong boundaries. Opposite Pisces is Virgo. Virgo is very grounded, precise, and discerning. It is the sign of service and purification. Virgos are prone to anxiety, worry, and stress. So like Pisces, Virgo is the archetype of the healer, the priestess, the caretaker of the sacred flame. So where Pisces dissolves boundaries, Virgo refines them. Or Pisces dreams, Virgo organizes. Together, they form a polarity that asks, how do you hold both the mystical and the practical, the spiritual and the embodied, the infinite and the everyday at the same time? So now, the other thing about this eclipse that I want you to remember, because this energy is big, right? There's lots of healing. It's also at 15 degrees. And there's some debate around if 15 degrees is considered a critical degree or not. 0 degrees, 29 degrees, those are critical degrees. 29 degrees is. But 15 degrees still seems to represent a midpoint that can intensify the energy of the sign. So in Pisces, 15 degrees sort of amplifies this archetypal theme of compassion, surrender, and spiritual awakening. It can also amplify addiction, escapism, and all the things that Pisces represents that aren't great. So be mindful of alcohol consumption and psychedelics during this eclipse. I would avoid those things altogether. During an eclipse, energy becomes really heightened. And because this is a lunar eclipse, it's a full moon. So because it's in Pisces, what I'm feeling is that core wounds are being activated. So these deep core wounds, these wounds deep inside your subconscious are coming up to be healed and processed and released. So the illusions that have kind of been masking them are dissolving, and you're starting to see the truth about who you are, how you love, how you heal, how you connect. Everything's being revealed. So because it's a lunar eclipse, there is an illumination, there is a release. The moon is a symbol of your inner world, of your emotions, of your subconscious. Sure, it's temporarily darkened, but that gives whatever lies beneath the ability to sort of rise to the surface. I think of it as hypnosis. When you go into hypnosis, you close your eyes, you drop your brain waves. And, when you're in that process, the issue that you're working on can rise to the surface. It can be seen. It's illuminated through that darkening, through you slowing down. So I see this as almost a similar process. It might also, this eclipse might also pull up these like deep longings, these old memories, these wounds, all connected to nurturing, to sacrifice, to belonging. There's going to be most likely tears, grief, and almost the sense that we want to merge with something greater than ourselves, right? Um, with Virgo opposite and a Virgo solar eclipse looming, Virgo asks you to integrate all these insights, as they're happening, as daily practices, habits, and to really um, embody what you want to create going forward. Okay. So take advantage of the Pisces eclipse, let the old wounds come up, dream. And then once we move into the Virgo solar eclipse, that's when we want to embody. That's when we want to take a little bit of action. A lot of people talk about eclipses like they're these evil omen, I don't know, scary, terrible things. It depends where they are in your chart. It depends what planets they're aspecting. They're not necessarily bad. They can be really great. They can completely change your trajectory. So I say do whatever feels good during the eclipses and don't let people scare you. Um, Back to Pisces, I think what we can expect with this Pisces eclipse is more of an art, collectively, anyways, is this archetypal anchoring into the mystic, the one who dissolves the ego boundaries and connects with the one, right? So again, back to hypnosis. You're dissolving the ego. You're getting the prefrontal cortex out of the way. You're going into the back brain and you're accessing these really deep memories and core wounds so that they can come up to be processed and healed. So during this eclipse, I think meditation would be great. I think anything that you could do that is healing is fantastic. I think just resting and processing is also wonderful. Go to the beach, go for a swim, be gentle and soft and take care of yourself, nurture yourself. I think also what we need to remember with this eclipse is Jupiter is trining the eclipse, right? So we're getting some beneficial energy and support from Jupiter. Jupiter expands, uplifts, bestows wisdom. Jupiter's in Cancer, where it is exalted. Cancer represents the mother, the womb, the roots, emotional safety. It is a sign ruled by the moon. So together, there's this opportunity with Pisces and Cancer that when I feel into it, feels like a really good opportunity to heal your relationship with feminine energy, with the mother, perhaps heal the mother wound. It almost feels like this little cosmic nudge, like, hey, we've got to really heal the first, even the first breath we took could have been incredibly traumatic. People do rebirthing, and that type of healing can be profound. We didn't all come into this world into the loving arms of a mother. So there's a lot of wounding and there's a lot of trauma that's, buried deep inside of our subconscious. We can't even remember it. So what I'm feeling with this one is, it's almost like what's coming up to show you where you've experienced absence, overprotection, or neglect, or criticism, abuse, abandonment, distortion, and maternal energy. Jupiter's here to help so that you can bring that up and heal it in a loving, kind, nurturing way. So even when we look at the feminine as an energy, I mean, the feminine has all different sides to her, right? There's not just one. When people think of the feminine, they think of the soft, they think of the mother. Well, okay, that's one aspect of the feminine. But with this eclipse, because it's in Pisces, I think we're with Pisces and Cancer together, it's sort of pointing towards that mothering energy of the feminine. I think with this eclipse, a good question to ask too is, mother wounds can create issues with feminine energy, how we embody it, how we express it. So a question you could ask yourself is, how have I rejected or suppressed my feminine energy? What is your relationship with feminine energy and how does that link back to your relationship with your mother? So right now, a lot of people are hustling. They're working really hard. They're striving. They feel disconnected to their body. And there's a lot of shame and blockage around receptivity and softness. So with this Pisces energy, use that to dissolve all of those things that are creating this hardness, this stuckness, and relax, right? I mean, Virgo is also very feminine. She's a very feminine sign. So with Virgo, it's in the routine, it's in the small sacred acts of daily care, right? So even when we move into the solar eclipse, you can still embody healing that relationship with feminine energy by, nurturing yourself with intention, resting when you're tired, honoring your cycles, tending to your body. So Virgo is all about purification. And I think one of the best ways to work with these eclipses is to work with Pisces and work with Virgo. Pisces in that way of, getting into the subconscious and allowing those wounds to surface. And then through Virgo, actively taking steps to heal and integrate that. So, how to work with this energy? You could try a self-mothering ritual where, just make yourself a delicious meal. Jupiter's in Cancer, so go for it. After you eat, wrap yourself up in some nice blankets, take a warm bath, tend to yourself as, you wish your mom had. You could do a water ceremony, let the old wounds come up, cry, and then journal them out, let them go, take a bath, go for a swim in the ocean, a lake, or a river, and just let that water wash it all away. Also, I think being grateful during this eclipse because Jupiter's aspecting is important. So you could write down all the ways or all the things you're grateful for, right? So be sure that that's part of this practice because gratitude is like the fastest way to fix everything, really. And then, of course, you could do an embodied feminine practice. So it could be dancing, it could be making yourself a beautiful tea, journaling. I mean, anything that involves sort of pausing, resting, breathing, receiving, do that. Keep it simple. I think hopefully everyone takes it easy during this eclipse, even though it's a full moon, it feels very soft. And I think the more that you can open up and allow, the better. And again, it's going to be a pretty wild 2 weeks until the solar eclipse on the 21st. So anything you can do, because this is such a healing time, if you can make space for that healing and that integration, please do it. Because I think once we get into October, the energy is going to feel a lot different and it's going to feel kind of fun. So seize the day, right? Take advantage of the opportunity now to get rid of as much as you can to create space for all those new things coming to you. All right. So back to September. September on the 12th. So the sun after the eclipse, right? On the 12th, the sun and Mercury are both in Virgo and they're sextiling Jupiter in Cancer. And then the following day, we have a Mercury cazimi. So I think even after that eclipse, it feels like pretty good energy. Everyone is, scared of eclipses. But when I look at the energy during the eclipse, it's actually really amazing. And I think with so much Virgoan energy, because Mercury is ruled, or Virgo is ruled by Mercury, there's a lot of information that I expect to start flowing, right? Mercury is the messenger of the gods. So open yourself up to receive almost like profound downloads and insights, right? There's a lot of Mercury energy. On the 17th, Mercury in Virgo is opposite Saturn in Pisces. And then once Mercury enters Libra on the 18th, Mercury's opposite Neptune in Aries, trine Uranus in Gemini, and trine Pluto in Aquarius. So again, it's like more information's coming because it's hitting those outer planets. So stay open, stay receptive, and really pay attention to what comes through during these 2 weeks at eclipse portal so that you can be sure, like write it down, capture it. This could be really valuable. This is information that you might need for the next 6 months. You might be getting a game plan or a map. So on the 19th, Venus enters Virgo and she's going to square Uranus in Gemini and oppose Saturn in Pisces. So relationships, money, and love could get a shakeup. On the 21st, we have another eclipse in Virgo at 29 degrees. So this eclipse is opposite Saturn in Pisces at 28 degrees and Neptune at 0 degrees Aries. So there's also a trine from Pluto at 1 degree Aquarius and Uranus and Gemini at 1 degree. This feels like, even though it's a new moon, it feels like there's a lot of energy that's getting kind of blocked and almost seeded at the same time. I think it's a really productive eclipse. I think this energy should be channeled into something like people say don't manifest during eclipses. Sure, maybe don't manifest, but start something. It's a new moon. Start building something, start creating something, embody something. Virgo is a sign of health, healing, and purification. Take care of your body, fast, move, organize, clean, restructure. I mean, just start doing something. I mean, it's a great day to plant a seed. I again encourage you not to necessarily listen to the doom, say the people who spread the doom. It could be a really cool day. On the 22nd, Mars enters Scorpio, the Sun enters Libra, and we have the autumn equinox. So, of course, every year the autumn equinox occurs at 0 degrees Libra. Libra is a cardinal sign. It represents balance, relationships, fairness, and harmony. So Libra here, or the sun here, is initiating a new season. So it's a time, again, set some intentions, focus on balance, on harmony, on diplomacy, relationships, and having a really creating balance in your life. It's a really natural time too to release what no longer serves you. I think people talk about spring cleaning, but it's not a bad time to do some autumn cleaning, or if it's spring in the southern hemisphere. So whatever you feel like doing, make it work for you. But again, because we're clearing space for all these new things to come in October, yeah, take advantage of the equinox. And on the 23rd, the sun in Libra is opposite Neptune in Aries, trine Uranus in Gemini, and trine Pluto in Aquarius. So again, the intentions that we've kind of brought through these eclipses, the letting go, and then the starting to create something on the 21st. This is another great day. The sun's getting activated by those outer planets. So take advantage of it. See what happens. The only day this month that I'm a little bit nervous about is on the 25th. Mars is in Scorpio, square Pluto in Aquarius. So thankfully, the eclipses are done. We've had a few days to work with that energy. Mercury's given us some great insights. We've had the equinox, and now on the 25th, there could be a lot of emotions, intensity, passion. There could be this quest for power. There could be anger, frustration, destruction, greed, passionate rebellion. So just watch out for people and situations that attempt to have power or control over you. But otherwise, September, when I look at the month energetically, I see a month ripe for profound transformation. And I'm going to keep saying that because for the next 3 years, the energy is wild. So take advantage of it. Create some cool things, transform, change, evolve. I mean, step into it. The more you can embrace change and step into the new version of yourself, the better, because it's going to be forced upon you, whether you like it or not. So you might as well lean in. But just be really specific and clear about the future you want to create and keep moving towards it. The energy is really potent. And I think, best used in a really productive way, because it's Virgo season after all. So I wish you all the best. If you need any support, if you'd like a reading, if you need help with trauma, emotions, or blocks, please get in touch. You can find me at bigbeautifulsky.com. All the best. Bye.